I was working on mentally, which I can do without a guitar, was we were talking about last time, um, knowing the geography without counting the geography all the way up the neck.
Okay. Yep.
So, knowing that we're at C in the E position here, or excuse me, in A in the E position here, and B and C, and going on up, and then going backwards from E to D to or D, yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
but knowing all that,
Good.
and A position and E position. So what I thought I had to do is either go back to or come up or find something new that I can an application song for that song or
Okay.
two that would be you know
Yeah.
somewhere up there. So that was sort of the idea. I'm sure that I've probably done a zillions and never thought about it this way, but I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. So right there, you were referencing chords out of or notes on the sixth string, basically, which would be the roots of chords for the E family of bar chords,
Right.
right? And are you on top of the fifth string as well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so so basically, if you're going to play a bar at any given fret, there are two different chords you can play there, two different roots of chords, one out of the E family, one out of the A family. And it's good if you can kind of relate those two roots so that you know like what two notes or what two roots are at the fifth fret. You already mentioned that out of the E family you're at A,
Right.
and out of the A family, what are you at the same spot?
You're at D.
Good. So you want to kind of like have those two notes paired up, A and D. That okay, if I'm playing an A chord or a D chord, I'm going to the fifth fret.
Right.
You know, and a kind of a cool sideline about this is that um, there there are all kinds of what am I trying to say? Um, we've got a pair of natural notes at the fifth fret, meaning no sharps or flats. We have the same thing at the third fret. So what are the two roots we have at the third fret?
At the third fret we have G and C.
Good. And past now starting to head up. What about the seventh fret?
The seventh fret we would have B and E.
Yeah. So kind of the point of this is that if you know those pairs, if all of a sudden you're thrown into I got to play a C sharp chord, it's like you can think, okay, well, I worry about where my C's are. I know I've got a C at the third fret out of the A family. That means I've got a C sharp at the fourth fret. And so you want to not have to start counting with A when you're looking for C sharp. It's like, well, oh no, I know C is here, so my C sharp's here. And then the C out of the E family is at what fret?
It would be at the eighth fret.
Good. And that means that the C sharp we'd be looking for would be at the ninth fret, right? So just one other little connector that I'm getting at there is that if you know all those natural ones, it only is a half a second to find a black key, because you know that where your C's are or whatever. And for practical purposes, really the 10th fret's about the end of the line of where you're going to actually put a bar and play something. You're not going to go to the 12th, and really not to the 11th generally. So kind of like the 10th fret's about the end of the line and that covers pretty much every chord we need. Um, and one other kind of interesting thing is between like 0 and 5, you pretty much can play every chord because we start here with our E, we've got E, we get up here to A, then we start coming up the A string and we get to D. So that
Right.
covers every letter except one. But I'll get back to that in just a second, or in one of the black keys. But so between 0 and 5, we have a way to play virtually every root. And then the other version of that root, whether that first one was out of E or A, they're going to have one up the neck that's out of the other family.
Mhm.
So we've got the C at the third fret out of the A's, and then the eighth fret out of the E's.
Okay.
The only exception to that is there's one root that can't be played here, and it's E flat, because the lowest place we could play E flat would be the sixth fret then out of the A's, right?
Right.
So it kind of splits the octave into. But anyway, but every other anything else other than E flat, you can get one of them here and one of them here. You know. So the next part of that equation is making sure you know at least the primary five types of chords for both E and A, and those would be what? What would I be calling the five most important members of the family?
We would be calling them major, minor, um, seventh, minor seventh, and diminished.
No, that was good. That was really good though that you got that far.
Yeah.
Yeah. So major and minor are two of the four kinds of triads we have,
Right.
right? And then and now there are two other types of triads, and that's where diminished and augmented
Yeah.
fall,
Diminished and
right?
augmented. Right.
Okay.
Right.
But so again, for our practical purposes, as far as bar chords go, we're really going to be playing chord. Diminished and augmented are kind of like a separate. They're in like a separate bucket because you don't usually use the A or the E families to play them. So, but we do for all the seventh chords, and so the seventh chords are like the next extension of our triads, major and minor triads, and then there are three common seventh chords: seven, minor seven, and major seven. Yeah. So that's the five that you want to have instantly, memorized for any shape. So my guess is that you're really solid on at least three, probably four of them, and the major seven one might be a little sketchy.
Shape wise, yeah. I mean, just if I started with E
Okay.
minor, um, well, let's see. Here we go. E7,
Okay.
um, E minor,
Yeah.
E minor 7.
Good.
Uh, let's see, to make that major 7, or that would be E major 7 would have to have the seventh that's in the key. And so the seventh that's in the key is going to be G sharp.
Not for E.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, no.
That would have been for A though.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I was thinking about, yeah, right. D sharp.
D sharp. Now, when you played E7, play E7 again.
E7. E7.
So where is the seventh right now? What string has the note on it that makes this seven?
The seventh would be D.
So that's what we're gonna change to make it major seven.
Right.
So how are you gonna finger that?
Uh, Something like that.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. This is there's a little bit of dissonance to an E major seven chord because the seventh is so low because it's on that D string. But as soon as you bar this and make a bar chord out of it, like if you were to take this, put a bar at the third fret
Yeah.
and play that same shape with your other fingers.
Same shape. I would just add that, I think.
No, it's still going to take all three fingers. It's
Uh,
still going to take because how would you play seven here?
E. Oh, E. I see.
Right,
E.
so you're thinking of that E shape,
Yeah, I'm thinking about E shape. So that would be the E shape,
right?
the E7 shape,
Right?
and so I guess I could
Yeah, you're
play
better off turning those fingers over.
this
Yeah,
way.
yeah, that should feel a little better.
Yeah,
This is
yeah,
a little bit of a clumsy chord. I mean, it's like it'll take some practice for this to be something you could grab quickly.
yeah. Okay.
But so right now, what chord is this then?
Um, this would be G7,
Not quite. What's that shape?
major 7,
Major seven. Yeah, yeah.
G
Okay.
major 7.
So anywhere you go on the neck, this is how you play a major seven chord out of the E family.
Right. And
Right?
anything along here. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So, okay.
So that's those are the five most important types of chords or members of the family, as I'm calling them here.
Right.
And and then so when you combine that with knowing where your roots are, you can play any major, minor seven, or major seven chord just by going to the right place.
Right.
And then the same thing is true of the A family. So do you have the same five? So let's work through all the A shapes.
Okay, so A major, A minor, A7, um, so A major 7 would be there.
Very good. Yeah. And one more.
And A minor 7 would be there.
Yeah. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah.
Okay, so up here, if I was going to play that up here, then A, or not A, we're not playing A now, we're playing C.
Okay.
And so C7 could be here. Eh,
Yeah.
That's hard to do, but
Try to make the bar still a little higher. Remember we've been talking about bar yeah. And
yeah.
yeah.
Okay. And then A, so A major or C major 7 would be here.
Mhm.
C minor is going to be here,
Mhm.
and C minor 7 is going to be there,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So here's a cool little progression. A major 7. Just play a regular open A major 7.
Uh-huh. Right here.
Yeah. To C sharp minor 7.
C sharp minor 7. So C sharp minor 7 is going to be here.
Good. B minor 7.
B minor 7 is going to be here.
D minor 7.
D minor 7 is going to be, no, here.
And one more out of the same family, E7.
E7. Okay, E7 is going to be, it's going to be here.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay. See if you can identify this if I just play the chords without like doing the correct accompaniment.
Okay. I almost feel like I can identify the sound, but not the. I can't. No.
Well, I know it's kind of late. I hope I didn't wake you. But what I've got to say can't wait. I knew you'd understand. Every time I tried to tell you, the words just came out wrong. So I'll have to say I love you in a song. So, great example of a kind of jazzy sort of sound that Croce got in that because of the major sevens and minor sevens that really give it a just a totally different effect than anything that's like blues than seventh chords that give you bluesy effects.
Right.
You know,
Right.
So yeah, it's just a really cool progression. If you're welcome to work on it if you want. There's a lot of different ways of accompany. I started off finger picking it kind of fancy, then sort of it still would be just a good progression to practice kind of strumming through lightly and hearing the song in your head. It can be a little exhausting, with all those bars, in particular in the intro. But after we're past the intro, it does go with the C sharp minor 7 and B minor 7, but then just to an open E chord rather than the other stuff that was further up the neck.
Okay.
And it did have some other unusual chords. It had a diminished chord in it. Every time I tried to tell you, that's what a diminished chord sounds like. And that's a really good change to practice as well. And then to a 7, the words just came out wrong. Another couple of bars that were not the earlier two.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Um, but yeah, I could send you just like the chart of that, and you could just try to
Yeah.
approach it first as a like solve the problem of figuring out how to play all those chords. And then we could worry about maybe how to accompany it a little bit later too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Send me the chart. That would be great.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
it's a great tune. Now,
yeah, and
oh,
and then that also, I mean, that's good practice for me anyway to get here, which I
yeah,
practice on.
yeah.
So,
So,
I found myself positionally, so I'm trying to get myself straight here.
mhm.
Um, I have my elbow tucked in somewhere, and I can kind of get there, and I seem to drift out of that position.
Yeah.
I also seem to um, bring myself over this way, and so
Ah, yeah.
I mean, is that okay?
That
Uh,
that might get hard on your back. I think that looks better. I think you're going to hurt yourself.
really?
Yeah, I think you got. Yeah, yeah. I think that's ergonomically scaring me. Okay. Um, yeah. By the
But
way, I think did you see the hand doc again after our last lesson, or was it just before?
no, it was just before
Oh,
the
okay.
last one.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, that was I'm at the decision point there. So
Right.
we're getting in the way. That's not such a bad thing. There, on this side. It's um, my wrist, my poor compromised wrist. But
That looks much better now. Right now, um, from the way I'm looking at your hand, many
yeah,
times when you put that bar down, there's almost no gap between the fret behind and this part of your finger. And right now there's a huge gap there, and that's good.
okay,
Yeah. So, we talked about this, kind
yeah,
of
yeah,
over and over. But yeah, the more you can think about that, and I know it's uncomfortable to think about wrenching your hand this way, that looks really good where you are right there. You're almost over the fret on the sixth fret, a hair, but probably, yeah, that's better.
yeah, yeah. If I can get that, I gotta see if I can get that clean. Um, so when I get to this position where this is getting sort of reasonable, I mean, the guitar is really kind of leaned out away from me quite a bit.
I think that's okay. Um, Yeah, you know what? Like, oh man, if I try to have like right now I'm perpendicular to my knee, for example, so I'd say I'm like flatting it, and I can't play it like this. It's like I have to, my elbow has to be out in front of my ribs a little bit. And so the guitar does have to be kind of angled off maybe 30 degrees, like towards the wall or
Right,
something,
right,
compared to, where your body is, I think.
right.
So
Okay,
that's okay. Yeah, this is bad. It
okay,
really needs to be kind of angled like that.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
So when Jim Croce played, um,
This is I'll have to say I love you in a song.
how to say, is that all those words are in the title?
Yes, yeah, it's one of the longest titles he ever had. I'll have to say I love you in a song.
I have to say, I love you this song.
Yeah.
So was he, was he his own principal guitarist? Is he
Yes.
the guy
Yeah.
playing?
Yeah. Almost everything he played, he had a partner, Maury Mulezen was his name, who did second guitar parts to everything. And so but you would hear Jim do this, for example, in Time in a Bottle. So that would be Jim's part.
Yeah.
And so he was very good on the guitar. And aside from being a great songwriter and personality, but in the case of like Time in a Bottle, and in many of the songs, Maury used a capo and played some really cool stuff. The Time in a Bottle thing that Maury part, and you'll recognize this instantly, was this. So they had some carefully worked out guitar duets
Uh-huh.
in many of his pieces. Now, in some of them, Maury just jammed along. Uptown got its hustlers, Bowery's got its bums. I mean, he would just like made up stuff and rocked, and it was never the same. He would just but on many of them he had a really carefully intricate, I mean, a carefully worked out part that was very intricate. So yeah, they were. You could go down this rabbit hole and watch videos of Jim. There are only probably about a few hours of them over the years, but he was back in 70 to 73,
Yeah.
71 to 73. He was on the late night shows from those days, Midnight Special. He was on that a lot, and but there are just great videos of him out there. So you should definitely check out some of his too. And virtually every time he did stuff live, it was just the two of them. And so you hear songs with everything else stripped away, because like but boy, his songs, this one. Photographs and memories, Christmas cards you sent to me, all that I have are these to remember you. Just cool progressions and lyrics and stuff. He was um, that was the kind of stuff my friend Mike and I were playing all the time when we were late teenagers. And so the guys that we listened to a lot were Croce, James Taylor, and of course Neil Young and things too. But we and when Croce died in a plane crash, that was like the first musical death that really kind of devastated me. It's like the earlier generation of Hendrix and Janis and Jim Morrison and the earlier deaths didn't really affect me as much, maybe because they were a little bit earlier, but also that wasn't the stuff I played. It was Croce stuff that we played. And when he died, and then 7 or 8 years later, the same thing happened with Harry Chapin. He was somebody else that I just thought was fabulous, and stuff. And he died in a car accident, Croce in a plane, and stuff like that. But those were the two deaths that affected me the most, I think, as a budding musician.
Was it a private plane kind of accident? Was it a?
Yeah, yeah, and it was in Louisiana or Texas, somewhere near the border there. Um, he had just hit it really big, and he was also just about to stop touring because he had a young child at home, and he's just getting. I mean, he just kind of came on the scene relatively in a short period of time. I mean, he'd been working hard his whole life, and then had a hit with Operator in 1971. It came out, and pretty soon he went from playing small college campuses to playing big places, and was like, and so he was doing 250 gigs a year, probably, and the year just before just before he became as big as he did, he had to cancel a show at a small college. Its name's not going to come to me now, in either Louisiana or southern Texas or eastern Texas, and decided to go out of his way to make that date good. Like a year later, when he was like the biggest star on the planet in the music world. And so
Yeah.
he went and did this small college gig, and so they had to take a private plane in and out of there. And then when he left the gig, that it slid off the runway and into a tree, and it was fast. And Maury, his guitar player, was of course on the plane too. So it's kind of like a Buddy Holly story, that
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
that they just had to in Buddy Holly's case, it was like Minnesota or someplace,
Yeah.
someplace where it's really cold and frozen.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah. I know.
yeah. So Yeah. So,
Okay.
um, so I'll definitely send you that chart in a little while. But let me talk about some of the other chords that happen in there, or any other songs you want to talk about now before we go off to something else.
Uh, no, let's talk about this. Yeah.
Okay. So, um, the the other two chords that are going to happen in here, other than the ones we just talked about, well, you know what? Let me send you the chart right now, and then we can. But you're going to see. So we had minor sevens out of the A family, and then we had, and we did use A major seven. So A major seven is where it starts,
Yep.
and so that first little intro went from A major seven to C sharp minor seven, major seven here,
Oh, major seven.
right, to C sharp minor seven,
To C sharp minor seven.
yeah, to B minor seven,
To B minor seven.
then up to D minor seven.
To D minor seven.
Yep. And then continues up to E7.
Up to E7.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. Now, when we get around to actually try playing, like throwing in some picking and stuff like that, we're going to not play the E7 there. We're going to play it in a different way. But since we're looking at this from the work on your bar chord
Yeah.
knowledge, that's what we want to do there. Now, when it gets into the progression, the vocal progression, it does four of those same five chords. It doesn't do the D minor seven. So it goes from the A major seven. Let's go back to that,
Uh-huh.
to C sharp minor seven.
C sharp minor seven.
Yeah, to B minor seven. And then just E major. So it skips the D minor seven and just goes to E, and we can play this open, right? So during the vocal part, we wouldn't play that high E. We would play it down here because then we're coming right back to the A major seven. So the second line is the same: A major seven, C sharp minor seven, B minor seven, and E again. And as the progression continues, it now goes to D, just a regular D chord, and then D sharp diminished. We'll come back to that in a minute. I want to get to the other couple chords first because that's going to be a separate subject. Followed by C sharp seven.
C sharp seven. C sharp
Yeah, and then F sharp minor.
seven. F sharp minor. Okay.
So we want to switch families for this.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
F
because
F
yeah,
sharp seven is going to be
F sharp minor.
F sharp minor. F sharp minor is here.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and then there's a quick change. This is only a half a measure change. So that chord for only two beats, and then it goes to D. And then the last line is really easy. Okay, so we're in the key. I'll get back to that in a second. We're in the key of A,
Uh-huh.
and all of these chords, except for one, are normal chords are in the key of A. But what are chords one, four, and five in A?
1, 4, and 5 are A, B, and E.
So the last line starts on one,
Uh-huh.
goes to five,
Uh,
four, and then back to one. So that's have to say I love you in a song. Yeah. So the last line is really normal. It's like none of these jazzy chords and stuff like that. But all the rest of it was. Let me find my chart for this because I'm not sure. Okay, found it. You want me to? I could just put it in here in the chat in this, or I could email it or message it to you. What would be easiest for right now?
Uh, Probably just message it to me.
Okay. Um, oh, actually, that might not work. Can I? How do I attach a file?
You can email it.
Yeah,
Oh,
let me email it.
you can email it. That's fine too.
Yeah. Um, oops, not there. Here we go.
I'll be here shortly.
Yeah, hang on a second. I gotta do something tricky to get it out of here and not have it. Nope, that didn't work. Okay, let's go the normal route of attaching. There we go.
50 miles.
Okay, should be there now or in a second. And it pretty much does everything we just walked through.
Right. Up
And
here.
it's got a strange name. It has no spaces or anything. So it's going to say I'll have to say or something like that. I'll have to say charts. It went to your Comcast account. Is that the email you usually use?
I got it. I opened it.
Okay.
It's
Yeah.
sitting right here
Okay.
next to me.
Okay.
A major 7. Right.
Hmm.
C sharp minor 7. B minor 7. D minor 7, E minor 7. So the D minor 7 was up here, yeah,
Hmm.
and the E7 was in this
Right.
one. We went up here, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it'd be here.
Yeah. But it's what's different about it?
Oh, I mean that minor 7. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so we want it here,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay. And then the second line of the intro is the same thing, you know. So, but now, so let's take it from the verse now and see if you can hear the melody as you start playing these chords from the A major 7.
Okay. So from the A major 7.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So the way the words would fit here is the words kind of lead into that, right? When if I was playing the intro, we'd have this. You would start the singing on the last E7 chord, something like this. Well I know, and that's where that A major 7 kicks in.
Okay. Here.
Yeah, and then to the C sharp minor 7. Now that's the symbol for a diminished chord. Is that little superscript zero? Okay, and have we talked about diminished chords
Uh,
much or at all?
a little, maybe, I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
Um, there are really only two different shapes you use for diminished chords. Then the one we're going to use in this looks like a little parallelogram. It's the top 4 strings only. We're only going to play 4 strings.
Yeah.
Yeah, and split those almost like play an A7 with those 2 fingers.
Play an A7 with,
Your first and second finger.
oh, here.
Yeah. And then your other 2 fingers at the 3rd fret. Yeah.
Okay.
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 That's yeah, and one of the coolest things about diminished chords, in the interest of full disclosure first, when we call a chord diminished, we're actually not playing a diminished triad. We're not playing just 3 notes, we're playing 4. So we really play a diminished 7th chord. But it's just automatically understood that if something calls for diminished, you use that shape.
Okay.
And the cool thing about these is every one of these notes could be the root of this chord. This is 4 different diminished chords.
Okay.
And all you have to do to play whichever one you're looking for is move this so that any one of these notes is the one that it's named for.
Okay.
So right now, do we have a D sharp in this chord?
Right here.
Where, not quite. Where would D sharp be?
Oh no, we don't. That's right. That's not it.
Where would it be on that string? You're looking in the right place.
D sharp would be here.
So move that whole chord back there. Just slide the whole thing back. That's it. Yeah.
I see. Okay.
Okay. Now, what note are you playing on the 3rd string?
On the 3rd string, I'm playing an A.
That means this is also A diminished.
Okay.
If you had to play an A diminished, you could use that one.
This shape right here?
Yep.
At this spot.
At that spot.
Okay.
And it's also a C diminished because you're playing a C on the next string.
Right.
And it's also F sharp diminished because you're right. So the way diminished chords work is this is 4 different ones.
Yeah.
If I move it up, this is 4 others.
Okay.
If I move it up again, this is 4 more. That's all 12 notes we have in our musical universe.
Oh, right.
And if you move it up, so if you move this one up, yeah. Now if you move it 1 more fret, right now, what note do you have on the 2nd string?
On the 2nd string, that is C sharp.
Not quite. 2nd string, you're at the 4th fret, right?
Right. I'm at the 4th fret. Oh, it's F sharp.
No. Oh, wait. One of those notes is F sharp, but not on the 2nd string.
All right. We're just a touch away from G. It's G sharp. Sorry. No.
Which one? Wait, no.
D sharp.
D sharp. There you go. Yeah. So that means this is D sharp diminished too. Just like the one back at the 1st fret. So every 3 frets, this chord becomes the same chord again.
Okay.
In other words, every time I move 3 frets, I'm going to have a D sharp in there. So I just played D sharp diminished in 4 different places.
Okay.
Okay. Now, and the reason this is, the math behind this is that if you think of our 12 notes as like on a clock.
Yep.
Okay, I use clocks for all kinds of things in describing stuff, and this is one of them. If we think of our 12 notes in our musical universe as the numbers on a clock, what we have here are 4 notes that are all a step and a half apart. So if what I have at 12 o'clock is A, by the time I get to 3 o'clock, I'm 3 half steps past A, which would mean I'd be playing a C.
Mm-hmm.
And at 6 o'clock, I'd be 3 more half steps past C, which would take me to like D sharp or E flat. Mm-hmm. And then over at 9 o'clock, I'd have a note that's a step and a half from there that would be F sharp.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so all those notes are the same distance apart, which means if I put F sharp up at the top, I'd have all the same notes in the same spots.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's what it is. It's 4 notes that are equally spaced around our circle of half steps.
Okay.
So now you could hear that if I play for this line and I'll have to say I love you, it goes D. Every time I tried to tell you. Or if I play it in a different plot, well, let me get back in my head here. Understand. There we go. Every time I tried to tell you, the words just came out wrong. So whether I do this, every time I tried to tell you, or this, every time I tried to tell you, the words just came out wrong. It's a little hard to hear that they're exactly the same chord because they do sound, this one sounds better because it's closer to where I just was on the D chord, okay? Now, an easy way to think about how to get to that chord is go back to D.
Back to D.
A regular D.
Oh, the regular D.
Yeah.
Okay.
You got to just take these 3 fingers and move them diagonally one string, and then add your little finger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So this is one of those things that when you start looking at this chord, it's like, oh, where were my fingers go? Right. See exactly what happened right there. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's our D sharp diminished, and then that's followed by the C sharp 7.
Right. So by
C sharp 7 this time, not C sharp minor 7. See if you yeah,
right.
take a look at the chart. See what we got in the chart there.
Oh, C sharp 7.
Right.
Then F
Followed
sharp minor.
Yeah, and the F sharp minor is a short change. I mean, it's in other words, it's only 2 beats of F sharp minor and 2 beats of D. See how they're split?
Yeah.
So so for the F sharp minor again, we're going to use the E family.
Okay, so for the F sharp minor, we're just going to go to here.
Yeah, not quite. You need one more thing. Full minor. I mean, how would you make this minor?
Oh, here,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Oh, F sharp minor. Yeah. Okay, I'm thinking.
yeah.
Yeah, look at 7. Yeah. Okay. F
Right, right,
sharp.
right. So you had minor 7. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
And then
and then
the,
just a regular D, and then we're into the last line.
which
So
is
I have to say,
yes.
yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It all makes sense.
Yeah.
So what's the
So
meter
I
here?
think just do a kind of simple strum like just down, down, up, down, up, down, up. Oh, actually, well, let me think. Anything kind of works here, but to just get a little more guidance here, the only difference between the two things I did there, the first time I went down, down, up, down, up, down, up. Basically just a quarter note on the first beat and all eighth notes on the other. That would be this. Okay. Mostly because I want this to be a left-hand exercise, But it would also sound good with just the normal folk strum, which is the down, down, up, the one with 2 ups in it. Now, when we get to a half measure, it would just be like down, down, up, right? Okay.
Okay.
So, anyway, so you could even sort of just kind of strum the chords and try to hear the song like one time on each chord, because at least at first, it's going to take a while to get to each of those chords. So it's going to be a while before you could strum through it and keep the rhythm going and make all those changes happen on time. So I think at first just do it like just one stroke on each chord and hear the melody or even hum it or sing the words, but also be sure to make sure you're really aware of the chord you're playing. Don't want this to just be I memorize that I do something up here at the 4th fret.
Yes.
So that's kind of the point of this exercise is we're trying to really barrel into the bar chord world.
Yeah. Well, that's okay. That's good. That's what I'd like to do. So
Good.
yeah, I think I've got this.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In terms of the shapes and all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think seeing the shape and associating the shape, I think that'll be good. I'm going to be talking myself through this numerous times. So that's great. Great.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Good.
Okay, we on for next week, or what's your travel plans now?
Um, Let me see. I'm going to take a quick look at the master calendar here.
And stop the recording here.